What if I told you that everything you've been taught about money is completely backwards? That the very habits your parents and teachers praise you for are actually keeping you trapped in financial mediocrity? Today, we're diving deep into 7 game-changing lessons from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad that will completely flip your understanding of wealth building on its head. But here's the twist. Most people who read this book completely miss the most powerful lesson, which I'll reveal at the very end. So stick around, because by the time we're done, you'll have a completely new blueprint for building real wealth. Let me start with a story that perfectly illustrates why this matters. 2 fathers, both intelligent, both hardworking, both caring deeply about their children's future. One dies wealthy, the other dies broke. The difference? Their mindset about money. This isn't fiction. This was Robert Kiyosaki's reality, growing up with 2 father figures who approached money in completely opposite ways. Now, before we jump into these lessons, I need to be completely honest with you. These concepts might challenge everything you believe about money. They might make you uncomfortable. They might even make you question some major life decisions. But that discomfort, that's exactly where transformation begins. So let's start with the first mind-blowing lesson that separates the wealthy from everyone else. Lesson number 1, the rich don't work for money, money works for them. This sounds like some mystical concept, but it's actually incredibly practical. Most people spend their entire lives in what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. They wake up, go to work, earn a paycheck, pay their bills, and repeat. The harder they work, the more they earn. But they're always trading time for money. But here's where it gets interesting. Rich people approach this completely differently. Instead of just working harder for more money, they focus on acquiring assets that generate income without their direct involvement. Think about it this way. When you're working for money, you're limited by the hours in your day. But when money is working for you through investments, real estate, or businesses, it's working 24/7, even while you sleep. This shift in thinking is massive. Poor Dad says work hard and save money. Rich Dad says work hard to acquire assets that will make money for you. One approach has a ceiling, your physical capacity. The other approach has virtually no ceiling because you're leveraging systems, other people's time, and compound growth. Moving to lesson 2. Learn the difference between assets and liabilities, because this distinction will make or break your financial future. Here's where Kiyosaki drops a truth bomb that makes most people's heads explode. Your house, the one you're probably making payments on right now, that's not an asset, that's a liability. Now, before you start arguing with your screen, let me explain the logic. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Your primary residence requires mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utilities. It's sucking money out of your bank account every single month. Yes, it might appreciate in value over time, but while you're living in it, it's costing you money. Real assets are rental properties that generate monthly cash flow, dividend-paying stocks, businesses that operate without your constant presence, royalties from intellectual property. These things actually deposit money into your account regularly. The wealthy focus obsessively on acquiring true assets while minimizing liabilities disguised as assets. This leads us perfectly into lesson 3, mind your own business. This doesn't mean quit your job tomorrow and start a company, although that might be part of your long-term plan. What it means is that you need to build and focus on your asset column while you're still employed. Most people confuse their profession with their business. Their profession pays the bills, but their business builds their wealth. You might be an accountant by profession, but your business could be acquiring rental properties. You might be a teacher by profession, but your business could be building a portfolio of dividend stocks. The key insight here is that you need to keep your day job to fund your real business of asset acquisition. Your profession provides the cash flow to purchase assets. Your assets provide the long-term wealth building. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki to focus on building his asset column from a young age, while Poor Dad focused only on climbing the career ladder. Now, let's talk about lesson 4, the power of corporations and tax strategy. This is where things get really interesting and where most people are getting absolutely crushed without even realizing it. The wealthy play by completely different tax rules than employees, and it's all perfectly legal. When you're an employee, here's what happens to your money. You earn income. Then the government takes their cut through payroll taxes, income taxes, and other deductions. What's left over is what you get to spend and save. But when you own a corporation or business, the game changes dramatically. Businesses earn income, then they deduct their expenses and only pay taxes on what's left. This means legitimate business expenses like equipment, travel, education, even meals and entertainment can be tax deductible. The wealthy structure their affairs to maximize these legal deductions and minimize their tax burden. But here's the deeper lesson. Corporations also provide legal protection for your assets and create opportunities for more sophisticated investing and wealth-building strategies. This isn't about tax evasion, it's about tax optimization within the legal framework. Moving to Lesson 5, the rich invent money. This sounds abstract, but it's actually about developing financial intelligence and creative problem-solving skills. While most people see obstacles, financially educated people see opportunities. When the real estate market crashes, most people see disaster. Financially intelligent people see bargain properties and motivated sellers. When the stock market tanks, most people panic and sell. Smart investors see buying opportunities. When others see problems, the financially educated see profit potential. This ability to create wealth from situations that others view as hopeless comes from financial education and creative thinking. It's about seeing deals where others don't, structuring win-win scenarios, and having the knowledge and confidence to act when opportunities arise. The key here is developing multiple forms of intelligence. Not just academic intelligence, but financial intelligence, emotional intelligence, and what Kiyosaki calls adversity intelligence. These combined allow you to spot and create opportunities that others miss completely. Lesson 6 might be the most important for your immediate future. Work to learn, don't work for money. This completely flips traditional career advice on its head. Most people choose jobs based on salary and benefits. But if you're thinking long-term wealth building, you should choose opportunities based on what skills you'll develop. Early in your career especially, focus on acquiring skills that will serve your long-term wealth building goals. Learn sales because you'll always need to sell your ideas, your products, or your services. Learn marketing because every business needs customers. Learn basic accounting and finance because you need to understand numbers to build wealth. Consider taking positions that might pay less initially, but give you exposure to different aspects of business, real estate, investing, or entrepreneurship. The goal is to become a well-rounded financial professional who understands multiple aspects of wealth creation. This approach requires delayed gratification, but the payoff is enormous. Instead of optimizing for immediate income, you're optimizing for long-term wealth creation capability. Now here's Lesson 7, and this might be the most challenging psychologically. Overcome fear and cynicism. The two biggest obstacles to wealth building aren't lack of money or lack of opportunity. They're fear and cynicism. Fear of losing money keeps people in low-yield savings accounts instead of investing in assets that could build real wealth. Fear of failure keeps people in safe jobs instead of pursuing entrepreneurial opportunities. Fear of criticism keeps people from taking the risks necessary for significant wealth creation. But cynicism might be even more destructive than fear. Cynicism keeps people from learning new things because they assume it's all scams or too good to be true. Cynicism prevents people from taking action on good opportunities because they focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. The wealthy develop what Kiyosaki calls financial courage, the ability to take calculated risks, learn from failures, and persist through setbacks. They combat cynicism with education, surrounding themselves with successful people, and focusing on possibilities rather than limitations. Here's something crucial. This doesn't mean being reckless or naive. It means developing the emotional and intellectual tools to evaluate opportunities objectively and take appropriate action despite uncertainty. But now I need to share something with you that most people completely miss when they read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. While everyone focuses on these tactical lessons about assets and taxes and corporations, they miss the fundamental paradigm shift that makes everything else possible. The real lesson isn't about money at all. It's about identity. Poor Dad identified as an employee who worked for money. Rich Dad identified as an investor and business owner who made money work for him. Your identity determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you see yourself as an employee, you'll make employee decisions. You'll prioritize job security over opportunity. You'll focus on salary over asset acquisition. You'll think like someone who trades time for money. But if you shift your identity to investor and business owner, everything changes. You start looking for opportunities to acquire assets. You start thinking about systems and passive income. You start making decisions based on long-term wealth building rather than short-term comfort. This identity shift has to happen first, before any of the tactical strategies make sense or feel natural. You have to see yourself as someone who builds wealth, not someone who just works hard and hopes for the best. So here's your action plan. Start with your mindset and identity. Begin seeing yourself as an investor and wealth builder. Then focus on financial education, read books, take courses, find mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Next, start acquiring small assets while maintaining your current income. Maybe that's dividend stocks, maybe it's a small rental property, maybe it's starting a side business. The key is taking action while you're learning. Remember, the goal isn't to get rich quickly. It's to build sustainable wealth over time by thinking and acting like wealthy people think and act. These 7 lessons provide the framework, but your commitment to changing your financial mindset and taking consistent action will determine your results. The choice is yours. You can keep doing what you've always done and get the same financial results most people get. Or you can embrace these lessons, shift your thinking, and start building real wealth. The wealthy aren't lucky. They just think and act differently about money. Now you know how.